we are live in Takwa. The Radio Shama and so ewo Shama. Space FM ewo Takwa. Ofie FM ewo Achim Oda. Right FM ewo Somanya. And Alive FM wo Yeji. Vision FM wo Seshi Debiso. Tricky FM so ewo Enchi. We are live. Jafric Radio ewo Japan. Adom fie Instructional ewo Hamburg ewo Germany. Over South Sama Brabo Sisani maybe Koswa Absa and Emma Sa Kwenya no peso 2 kwan kwajo ho kakra peso siesie wo car where ye Absa change your story. Near ten say who you so Absa card no 10 times anane moya Absa Emma Wakwenya no abeka enipa enuma bosumi bia fisa abre ya kopem October bosumi na wie ye no enipa numa bosumi bia ombedi 40,000 Ghana cedis etikoswa fa Absa card no na fetua niema ka be bia POS wo bia no fetua ka na wo chances no ekosoro sa enti shenen so sa Emma me so penchemu bia fo okọ Absa branch bia benwa wo benya sa enchiremu no shenen so sa gudie National Lottery Authority na ehihye ho niema na ya edebrew ewo Caritas Lottery platform no eso mattress ayeda so na etimi aboan latex foam ede enkonya so aba beka ho a ene se wo penkonya papa atena so de sisi ofia latex foam nkonya enti high quality mattresses and furniture and latex foam ede somo showrooms bia wo Ghana ha bia bo ma benya latex foam ne papa yi ebi latex foam, your partner for life. Enti ne guest ya mama no akwa abadeda Dr. Prince Hamid Armah and meneno twetwe enkomo for mo amoshe Facebook no enkeka mo mutie no Good News FM so e Takra de no. This is your very own member of parliament for Kwesimintsim Doc akwa babio
Majority CJ.
Good. Constituency tonight grounds here
be good pa the radio station be of Constituency Oil City Radio.
Okay.
I want so
Oil City Radio. Fantastic.
You go do area Juma. Juma odim puntu deba amafo na abrabom. Me sha say there me more some more Constituency no. I horse na wo woman no. Nyome ba san na me de see me nwado. Me de kro kan wo ba ya nan. Musican ye dese pade constituency no kwanenyi mechire Kwesimintsim constituency ofane tampa fura no sesasen ma first no misua no mehu ya musican ye ehumesua na nsane djuma education and skills development or education and training skills training more today be in entrepreneurship no new job creation more today basa and social infrastructure na moto dan nan ye leadership and governance damu enyoma nan I am 4 pillars in nyara eco constituency no ma medi dwuma wo ho so ba ne ho mesua within the last few years am be MP good mercy school nkonkon kokora wotwe I see from KG up to primary including junior secondary school health center Messi from the scratch health facilities are ma equipment fan scholarship more than 200 young people from Kwesimintsim wa bom wenya scholarship ebi mukra o abrochira wo sua de we ma wenya opportunity wori ejuma eba no ejuma sema over 100 of young people are Kwesimintsim when employment in public sector on job creation is under job creation and entrepreneurship may train more not less than 2,000 youths in different areas. In fact, just last 2 years you graduate here about 620
I see
young people are and the program or no wakada wokutiska Kobia into a crying no less than 3,000 Ghana cedi. My phone ka a train one. I may train one or ICT. Me try abefo. Mfidi Nsem.
Yeah.
It's more than 600. I want me train one for 3 months, paid for everything, and then I wanna we now we no. Mama on laptops to start. Me say farmer so one fiawo. By mobile monya sika kakra dash one adai won dwetir that one as they are the every sector.
Okay.
Anti me gidi de yɛrekɔ yɛn anim no.
Okay.
Yes, more back.
Sure. But anapay me pede ye be share adesua ho nsem kakra. We all know the manifesto of the two major political parties or out. Ghana fo nyina woguda wo te nsem a amanyofo wo kafrim. But and me pede ye be share the campaign promises on education, because I want to chair the education committee for Dr. Bawumia campaign manifesto. And to what is actually contained in the manifesto. But me pede didn't come on the best chance, because when we talk about education, most of the time I in senior high and tertiary na, but me pede ye best chance the preschool. Now, of course, there are very pertinent questions that I'll be asking. I also the whole response. I've been looking through the 2020 manifesto. Promises I will make those promises and what you've done about them. But Yensha Simfi, what Dr. Bawumia intends to do for our education sector from scratch. From preschool, KG, they call primary now. Then yensha simfio doc.
But that's baby. The me say shas in tama menchiempo. Sanko for winchir.
Yeah.
Ozi kan mi che oti efu nyinara. Ankan me constituency ye Kwesimintsim constituency.
Yes.
Number nyina mo biara chi wodi menyado. Asama ebise no edi bisapa. Omani biara botumpana uhumesua nedikan se ebenya adaterefo ebenya nursefo ebenya lawyers ebenya journalists tede wankasa bebi etia se anko schoola obaye de manifesto yikura ode wenye betuma akankan na chechire and then me here now was worry bibiti the fact check no nsem bia bi mu kan na won kofo no wakɔ hwehwɛ mu na wɔde anu yi bia bado we ya no kware na or make reference to some of the policy document and a report from Ministry of Finance.
Yes.
Say nye nimdi a entumi yɛ damaze no. Enti the foundation of every society only there ebe acquire knowledge only na wama wiase bebiara wotumpan na Dr. Hamid Armah say eti ne nkoma odi o shase ba Ghana politics why very consistent eti nkoma odi ni nyara consistency ni there opede Ghana konanyim sen bebia sisi ayewe yakoye n'anyim mom bada obiara bobra obobredo obokonanyi obetumpan mo na onam there over the minister azun the Ghana bokonanyim more than bibia yijinenti no offer education as one of the foundation pillars enti the American no say for humesua start fee mbofromba.
Yes.
In fact akwa abrochira scanner was spending a lot of public resources on social interventions oyembo from back when yedi moto de bien and wanna we did them people with disability. Yes. Moto de basa the aged. There are 3 classes of people you found the vulnerable groups. I want want to mention one na do ye today my ordinary person be a beden obey and he say area policy biara na ntuma nhyɛ dem group no mu kana oya na tete bantahwe ne manifesto no ma dem 3 groups amaka wasam no na nwe di chiripa obiara nya ne chafa wom ewumesia started from Sisia Ghana has started from KG onye amani nyina na started from KG ecoman bitre Nigeria one started from KG formal education start from primary school Iron President Kofada Roma under the Education Review Committee of Professor Adom Mensa, one of my mentors in academia. No, or make key recommendation there. Yamfa KG, Yamfa Mbaka, the formal education system, no, which is the primary school. In Tiabebenya 2 years of KG, 6 years of primary, 3 years of junior secondary school, 3 years of senior secondary school, and 4 years of tertiary education.
Yes.
Minimum, maximum 4 years of tertiary education. And from that period, KG Ababa Kenyan school system. Unfortunately, at the time, now your primary schools, but no KGs in you. KGs are not available, no a private sector. Then the nursery.
Yes.
Abandoning nursery school, abandoning creche, creche and nursery a private sector. In fact, social welfare for crown or manage Department of Social Welfare on manage that particular subsector.
Yeah.
So at the time now KG Bay now oil in the hands of the private sector. A president call for the car a bomb in the basic KG schools. But yes, CBR then so in here they be better than back home. Ma Dr. Mahmoud Baumia na banipado ye de oye de obesi KGs more. Now if you are correspond with the total number of primary schools ahead you over 15,000 primary schools. But the number of KGs undo in the last years they yensi cry yesi more than 200 kgs. 200 kgs. The existing one.
Okay. Do I know about in the system? How many did we have at the time you took over?
But I can check the data.
Okay.
But the number of kgs compared to the number of primary school, there was a huge gap. I can check the data. Actually, education sector performance reports, review reporter for 2016. You can get that data in.
Okay.
But just to add to say that Adom my years abaka is to improve the access to KG. Unfortunately, only enough. Some of the foundation, some of the baby are what's on crano on Shadanye Papa. I more we free there. KG primary 1, 2, 3 on a friend early grades. Early grades no or one no foundation for education.
Yes.
Say more for money when ya stronger foundation.
Fapim Papa.
No. But I'm kafantin in the when ya Fapim Papa na on money future learning trajectory ni or kwenye mrusuya no on tuminsuya on nyani ye because foundation is very weak. Today, may say resident.
Yes.
Our foundation is weaker. Then, like I said, basically the superstructure and so on. To me, and he spend a lot of energy on KG and on primary. One, not only the access, there will be a benya KG wako at the right age. Don't forget there before I book a KG, no, they at least 4 years.
Yeah.
4 years, they were KG. But if KG needs school, not the Nimpa no work primary 1 straight at the age of 6 years. So because 7 years, 8 years, I feel no then. Or not start school. Omwa in there.
Yeah.
Odi can we delay in school.
Yeah.
Until time I would be we school no the boko. And you so I do we school 15 years at JSS 15 years, we JSS 17 years, we SS 20 years. So I invest instead of them we somewhere 22 years. This your baby be about 24 years. Into new years now. Don't forget the school I or tuition free. Aban says yes, sir. I also there Baba contribute to national development and do I then what what we call the years in the labor market. Into right age enrollment is very, very key. As a foundation building block for young Mofromano, and this is part of His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Baumia Opodoye, especially at the early years, and KG as a foundation. Not only the facilities, mature facilities, will provide modern facilities. Good as Kasana Banner, modern KG. Oh, my Constituency, I think I'm in the fourth KG receive within the last.
Or 1 hour project, one project, and
Mankasa project.
But
may source from government.
Okay.
Mezako. So I'm saying that I've been see a lot of ultra modern cages, but that beyond the cages, not beyond the early years, access in the sense to be what we call the achachira for no so. It was say achachira for what it to one there one chira as a KG. On wanted to hear what the morning say ye more of the match achira for Nasi even cages 15,000, 16,000 krana, there will be an empty classroom with no teachers. And Adia, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia pedo in there. Orin see cages no kutin na infrastructure no kutin on year modern. But make sure there were more teachers at the KG level. Adia ma kofu bebre na 1 per kg no. I sometimes are prestige. There ewo primary school and in fact ewo secondary school and kofu social society kra wo hu there chede awa akọ enyim.
Yeah, cratch it.
Akọ enyim massive there. Obi chirazi wo KG no chedo no jamana adwen no mpiu papa akwa abrochira anwona wa chede wa rida wo enwumonsie mu pa wonpo na wo chirazi KG nti aban.
Is it because it be a motivation be in you for a teacher for and into the hand interest no from
and chair aya opportunities na aya obaba for what can then painful which primary and JSS na even secondary school na aya opportunities no on time you what damama people at that level, teachers at that level. Until as Dr. Mahmoud Baumia why read that door by your pa hinde Obama KG ya krabashwe na obisu no kwado do kwa kwachira de KG specific incentives for one up there watchraze at KG incentives no could include per discussions no on there funding sources abobo ma se pede kokoye KG teacher etumenya them funding support and scholarship support na fi you train more KG teachers to be able to ensure that we have a lot of young people, a lot of teachers, KG teachers in our classrooms. At that level, we're also looking at inclusive learning, even at the early years. Inclusive learning in the disability, meso can cry a problem you will be a friend also autism ne behavior a certain way can madam shebe classroom those times and at that time I had not done special education until me to my handle ni say mo ko back nke I will not me share and maybe until Dr. Mahmoud Baumia pedo share them special education mu kana me special needs students no one agekere no mu kana nti teachers agekere for wa train one nyina no or pedo make sure that obia kita them skill no to handle children of different ability range and me gidi there say teacher man na e mambo former way yedi oye hia sama amanu konenyim papa Osande ehwe culture na generally aya bibia na yempanyimfo bibia yempanyimfo yen focus nya wompanyimfo and FT Dr. Mahmoud Baumia na kasa nyina na ehu de mbofoma yedi order na komado pandema mekan no say ehwe ne manifesto no nya na these 3 vulnerable groups na mekan the aged, the children and people with disability. It cut across the entire manifesto and it shows you how much committed he is towards the group we call the vulnerable. Okay,
Doc, but let me draw your attention to this. The issue of teaching and learning materials, especially for primary JHS levels. I don't know the current situation now, but what is the plan of Dr. Baumia for children and teachers concerning teaching and learning materials, especially textbooks, curriculum-based textbooks from what the books you had, Doc.
Curriculum.
Yes.
Textbooks are more formal be used, and a teacher for to be used,
yes.
Media na mehwena woye ma okay in the ban burden oboto nti publishers was be nya approve nti our textbooks was system no mu
approved
yes.
Okay.
By the time we cry me feed na kakra na I had approved not less than 1,000 set of textbooks different
you left office.
Before I left off in 2021.
Okay.
Different authors.
I see.
Na ninya ya ban on sobo to muato private schools to aban sobo to be. Government has procured a lot of textbooks for English, mathematics, the key areas in for schools across. Mekede Abrana me until recently I'm a vice chairman of education committee in parliament. You call around to share one was a contract now or print textbooks in Azinia. So I can say there's a lot of textbooks in the schools. But on ye ninara we Dr. Mahmoud Baumia Pado move a step further. And the textbooks, especially the paper books, wearing and tearing ba. But for my was so books be brain notion bag, but for mathematics, for English, for integrated science, for Greek, for RME, all of them. Notion or bag. Where we are heading towards mature digitalization, the plan is there. Yabobo modena yambo from obenya tablet. With tablets, the textbooks in and yet to write in a soft copy, from the publishers and they load onto it. So that's the plan under His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bami. And part of the plan, never heard there. At the secondary school level, we have procured over 900,000 tablets. 900,000 tablets.
900,000 tablets.
Watch at secondary schools across the country.
900,000
yes, okay. Distribution is ongoing. A lot of schools now we go that but that's part of
for students.
For students,
okay.
But that's part of them a whole idea of moving from the paper based, because I'm American, paper based textbooks, wearing and tearing, carrying the materials along, as in it's a bit inconvenience, and it costs even government more to every time ensure they or replace new textbooks. So that's the focus. And teaching and learning, see, say a curriculum. Now teaching and learning resources on which are na implement curriculum on Kawa obeyed. We have reviewed the school curriculum. The curriculum we use for school is comparable to any international curriculum. Abraham Wanaka, the international schools, the private international schools, they came together in a unified form there. Curriculum will believe in it, or your papa until they want to be trained. I remember taking them to the Ghana Atomic Energy side and then train their teachers in the curriculum, and they are implementing it very well because they have the ability to procure the resource, the instructional resources, and give to the students. Abanoso Uguda or the more textbooks here than was it about textbook and so and to me talk one thing about use of textbooks. And to Amankasa de me chechenya Amankasa me too keen in textbooks in because one textbook, the author's view, and how as an order author was expressed in that textbook.
Yeah.
Another author so one in a different form, but the same thing. So if a restrict Abfrabano was just one textbook, or be very used to just that approach that teacher author is presenting.
Yeah.
But where I decide in your curriculum that you want the children to be problem solvers, investigation. There's no one solution or approach to solving a problem. There are multiple routes. But if a funny one or a committed or concentrated on just one textbook, the challenge is that obey too attached to that only that procedure for solving that problem. So you need even multiplicity of textbooks. Integrated science, are taught on a different from different authors, so that the children or the learners can have a better perspective of the different approaches each author then.
But what's the current pupil to textbook ratio?
We at the moment, and I think that for every child we're looking at 1-to-1, but for every child I think between 1 to 3 textbooks, depending on
1 to 3.
Yeah, depending on the year level. So if you take tertiary secondary school, for example,
Yes.
1-to-1.
Okay.
If you take junior secondary school, you can get be a 1 to 3 or 1 to 2, depending. And then at the primary level, you have 1-to-1. So it depends on the level of the class. But the key thing is that not just the textbooks, but also the teacher resource materials for the teachers to also use, which also help in implementing the curriculum. A lot of instructional resources is under this government, but we still have to do more, because they achieve in terms of improve the learning outcome. Then it's necessary there na akadze or edo ka ho no de bia na akadze no or because number of students increase all the time, and as a result of that, here so there every time you produce more materials. So on the teaching and learning resource, and I can say there's no complaint of chalk in there. First, just common chalk was a problem. I bet the famous "I won't give you chalk today, I won't give you chalk tomorrow," because a school in Kukrantumi could be a head teacher could be chalk. Or there's no chalk in the system. There's a report, the whole of Eastern region shortage of chalk. Today in Yadamukranoti, in fact, in the classroom in we are moving from chalk board to the one we
the
have,
whiteboard,
the former board. See, all the schools, constituency schools are using your former board. So you see that we are advancing.
But Doc, we dwelt on the textbook issue because from the NDC's manifesto, the NDC is promising to significantly improve people to textbook ratio through the comprehensive provision of curriculum-based textbook, and this is contained in the NDC's manifesto. The reason I maybe started this is the ruling government. What have you been able to do in bridging that gap as the NDC is promising?
In fact, if your own manifesto, to be very honest with you, a lot of the things they are out of touch with what's happening in the ministry.
Really?
I'm telling you. See, that's why I don't want to look at them, because a lot of the things, the things that have already been done, no work there they will do. So I bet would want to comment about. But what I want to say there, as far as this government is concerned, urban instructional resources we provided instructional resource more than any government under the Fourth Republic. I tell you for a fact.
Really?
And the data is there. If you ask the Ghana Education Service, they will give you the data.
Okay, so if you have data, you can share a bit of it with that, so we can also cross check. Doc.
So as I indicated to you, for secondary school, what we call supplementary reading materials, we bought across the schools in secondary schools. If you take the basic school, primary 1 to 6, KG, instructional resources across all the schools have it. But as I said, instructional resources are static, or it's very continuous. Every time it be a new emerging and utter the BB boy very interesting. That's how it is. You can never end providing instructional resource. It doesn't end. Every time it be there's a new emerging be a material be very interesting, and government is interested to buy for students. It be a very interesting book. As a supplementary reading material, the government would want to buy and give it to the students. Or there's a textbook that has already been produced. Textbook another edition. You understand? It's an updated version. There's always a continuous provision of instructional resources. No government can say the mama textbook for this period maybe every time they are procuring. It's just an ongoing process. Yeah.
But Doc, we'll be moving away to the tertiary, and then we'll be coming into some of the policies or manifesto. But we still have schools under trees, and we still have kids from not this say or the school. Be when you be crying, you may have to sit on the ground and maybe lie on the chest and write. What is your plan in dealing with this issue? And in fact, what have you done within the past 7 years in providing, classroom furniture and removing schools from under trees?
The total schools are over the last 8 years is not less than 800 school infrastructure.
Over the last close to 8 years?
Yes, not less than 800 school infrastructure.
800?
Yes, not less than.
Okay.
School and the trees, in how we measure. This is how they emerge. In a community where from be a school behind some people start there. Let's do community and bring some students together and start teaching them. That's how it starts. GS doesn't go anywhere and say that must start to school. I'm start to win the assay. There's nothing like that there. It emerges from the community. What starting what shall I say? Now we're seeing kakran kra na fi painful chrome one painful now I catch be assembly na band ya school be as how until here in the last over the last 7 years we have provided no less than 5,000 schools. Sorry, we have over 5,000 schools under trees. I mean, supposedly called schools under trees. And we have provided infrastructure for many of these schools across the country. But this phenomenon of schools under trees in Yaza Oba and this year, as I said, it continues emerging. And the policy intervention is to make sure that we construct more schools. The plan is to ensure that we construct no less than 5,000 schools, new schools, to deal with the schools under trees. And we costed that one in the manifesto.
Okay, 5,000 schools.
Yes, we want to make sure
that time frame
within the period. Yes, we want to make sure that
Dr. Bawumia, the first time.
Yes, because the way Dr. Bawumia wants to construct schools, it wants to look at the private sector participation in the construction of education infrastructure. Until the private sector no buy obviously, then government find a way of paying them in kakran until they what can they then so you don't need to have the bulk money to be able to do this infrastructure construction. That's his approach to infrastructure development.
Adom 106.3 FM minute. Dr. Prince Hamid Armah, a member of Parliament for Kwesimintsim Constituency, so and Education Committee for Dr. Bawumia in the 2024 and the MPP's 2024 Manifesto. Ono and Odano, Tretre and Komo. So we are looking at, we are trying to look at the superiority of the education manifestos for both MPP and NDC. And Esha's here a free cage, de Basron Kakaka. O join on Facebook, o bet to me o comment atoho Benjamin Afiakin kind ama. We are driving near Shell Rimula. Na me come for the amount petrol and as a diesel engine buapa papa engine mu fina ma engine no ahoden Shell yenim ni free nti driver for Embura Shell filling station bia na wo mon ko Shell Rimula no emfangu wo engine mu na ebeboa engine no papa doc yambra the famous free SHS. How much investment and why you will free SHS? Now the NDC is saying free SHS has come to stay. Initially there was a debate as to one and say and one and but investment why you will free SHS. How many children have benefited and what Dr. Bawumia seeks to do? Sagana for what about what the manner. There are questions that we want to ask, Doc.
Say, if a free senior high schooler, I think they are very important. They will be having why the free SHS even came into being, and it's very important we reflect on that. Before the free SHS, I say a junior secondary schooler, or there actual BEC and sana to my course the secondary school. Actual BEC so assessment is such that it be about 60% in fact, from the assessment, 60% obenya what we call the qualifying grades to go to secondary school. In fact, even if you 60%, even if the 60% in your crown, why already the obokwa, the spaces are not available, was not available. So you had around roughly the total number of students at school at the time, so around 800,000 in secondary school around. Then we introduced the free SHS. The problem was not just the financial difficulties, but also the policy of a certain grade and standard they call secondary school. You introduce free SHS and your policy there. We want to remove the barrier, which is the policy barrier. Menya aggregate 9. Sorry, menya grade 9 in English and now mathematics. They started 2017. And in Nenya aggregate, combined aggregate 52 krana. Unlike previously, na here 36 and sana ko secondary school. This time when you 52 krana able to make secondary school. That was the first thing. Removal of the policy imperative of the BEC. The second one was the financial barrier. Cost na there incur there etumekwa bill was more there ko totonyo man sana there accordam bill na dinya no abana fonko. Because of that, previous 800,000 students are now over secondary school before able to, they are now around 1.5, almost 1.5 million children. And if you take it cumulatively, more than 5.7 million children have benefited. Impact is very significant. Obiara onya kwenya experience the previous system no. Ebia no ntiase obi secondary school. So many people who junior secondary school when to man to do anya because bikwa we ntwa we twai nanso sika. Aya sika ozeboko ekutua na wetum wenyi wa ko school no aya problem. Aya obi mu kade free SHS be kra and just yetua. But the question is there, in case a bill na abanu wa somu no, kasa dame bill no, so kaden kende wontia, you probably would have paid more. Even if sen kende spend 2,000 or 3,000 to go and get the enyoma na right there, mofoma wadu ko school no, spend 3,000. Say abana mfa all the cost items, books in the school uniform, na PE case that nyomani nyara. And you probably will be paying about 7,000.
It say ubika there on ye free. Them our friend free now. In Bakono Odika. Doc.
Say abandoning Kada Fiska Bransana. Once you get admission, you are entitled to go.
Yes.
And that's why it is free. There's no way abaka there men go school because a niska no. In charter say. Akadena wo for edo zemane no based on wukotokum. Obia no kotokum ma obeka de bekosu mebaro ko school ntime man gare kakra me man ya no based on kotokum but any gare kra na any fi kra na you can still me here there egwara na ekodu school you can still go to a school and that's where it is the free and first no you have to make payment school fees baba what the bill baba was akim school fees on several occasions njata say me kwatwa wasikra was akim school fees. You have to go and speak to the assistant headmaster academic and this is not the case now. CCRA, you don't need any there's no financial requirement, impediment to go into the secondary school. And that is why it is free. And the impact in a free secondary school will make, maybe a CCRA will not see it. Impact of education, on the economy, on your immediate or a long-term effect. And to say, but who need effect pa President Akufo-Addo way free office na wako chebi kofi okwa jina homo no na afia manfo bo sana papa no giant na japade kese pa Ghana sika no obiare nya ne chafa efrim ma ye pede ye ni de ye pede ye protect the free secondary school. Na ye has improve no. There has been some implementation challenges. Meche de bi o ha. Ibi mo he. De bi o be bia ezibano food supply and be do one term no ndi na dam issue na wabano. Every program implementation there are implementation setbacks. There's no problem-free program implementation. I've never seen that in anywhere as far as policy development, policy implementation, and policy evaluation is concerned. And see, there's been and you know, challenges are Hansen, addressing, and as I've indicated to you, the means of the issues about feeding,
yeah,
how Sikano feeding obey problem free than it is now. That's what we enhance. NDCs, you know, they never and even up to date don't believe in the free secondary school, or only out of political convenience.
But former president also free SHS has come to stay.
Now be our cadence 2 billion Ghana cedi on spend with free secondary school. What has changed? It is because when we're there, you cannot do anything to it. Until when you're from Nakumim, or he has been an ardent campaigner against free secondary school. Let me even tell you, your document before education strategic plan. On an Abani Biaroba, before a year, education strategic plan 2010-2020 was spanned for 10 years under the Millennium Development Goal. In that education strategic plan, it is in that plan that Aban will not. On here, there Aban Bobtia about a boarding fee with one on any subsidy be special borders, and because I want to work a boarding school, no, they are coming from rich family. Very interesting. That's what is in the document. They are coming from rich family, and you know, government should not intervene in secondary education in terms of subsidy. If there is anything cry over here. Obey a needs assessment.
And this document you are referring to, which year?
Education Strategic Plan, 2010-2020. Just Google it.
Okay.
You'll find it there. And that's what the government claims. And it says that, say, a means testing. And in that document also, you have a Ministry of Manpower. That time, no, your Ministry of Manpower or means testing tools. You be using another means testing. And to be a here, no, never man boy. They've never believed there or there will be access to free secondary school. Won't believe in there. Even if there's free secondary school, also it must be targeted.
Okay, Doc.
If we are going to protect it.
Okay.
There's no way that.
But remember, if the NDC is promising in their manifesto to improve the free SHS program by providing a dedicated and sustainable funding source.
Well, action verb, no. For a party that says we are resetting Ghana, what does reset tell you? To reset to me is to overhaul. Reset, you don't use action verb like improve. You are upgrading. So that's why I'm saying that if you pick them, you see that they don't have to. They don't know what they are talking about.
Now, are you saying there to improve the free SHS program?
It's to upgrade. It is to. That is what the MPP has always
free
said.
SHS on here improvement.
I thought that was they are resetting Ghana. Anamabua.
Yes.
So what's what they are resetting?
Yes.
And we expected that you say you overhaul free SHS. And if you are going to improve, it means that you are talking about the same thing MPP people are saying. We're saying you are going to enhance it. But but
of course, NDC now has never denied that they are going to cancel free SHS. The former president said it has come to stay.
Since we're not that, it has come to stay. I've told you it's because of political convenience. That's all. From their heart, they don't believe in free SHS. Many mistake cry about it.
Really?
And they will mess it up. They will mess it up completely. That's why we've said specifically that we want to protect the free secondary school. Addition wants to say no. I am a yenim dwa owo ma ye de ye akoma port teacher. Obi banos there. Since anyama okeke and they've backtracked. Teacher training allowance or come as also they will continue to give teacher training allowance. Until they are just backtracking, catch your just for political convenience. And what we have done, we have provided to Ghanaian people there. We are more credible. And in terms of the free secondary school, I don't think it's an area that we should maybe contemplate the better and this if we want to.
Okay, but share the funding source, because that's what they are promising, that they are going to provide a dedicated and sustainable funding source.
Just grammar. What is the dedicated funding source? Did they indicate the dedicated funding source?
But free SHS.
But this year, America said no. There's financial problem in the free SHS. The problem in the free SHS is the bureaucratic system. We have acknowledged that. And sana buffer stock and other commodity exchange. We be kwa credit ben na was ako na what can it then with the school. There are some issues they address. And our approach in there want to strengthen the mechanism of the implementation process. That's all whatever they are saying there, no, it's just an afterthought. Nasiana order, you know, they know. The Nimre free SHS a scrap na sambaba. They can't. It will be politically unwise for them to even do that. They have no option. Only option than to join the winning team and to join the MPP's agenda for the free secondary school. And so whatever they've said there, no, it is just to get votes. On yet they truly from their heart. You give the NDC a chance, the 1 year secondary education, truly from their heart, they will never implement free secondary school. 1 year. The last time now, 1 year supposedly progressive, you know, we were paying 38 Ghana cedi. 38 Ghana cedi out of a bill of almost 500 Ghana cedi at the time. 38 Ghana cedi. And that's what they called it. Yeah, free. And see, pede boko or too much. My messer in there. A man fu a man muni nyanya didi wa Dr. Mahmoud Baumia. Ono no boa doctor or born na do dan kwa kufuado His Excellency the President. Ma ya ye free secondary school. Osi ye man kwanya obo protect free SHS from the hands of these people who have never shown any interest and don't believe in the free secondary school, but just for political convenience. Now, so you improve all the bottlenecks. Any program implementation, but 8 years is enough to do program evaluation and then to understand the implementation challenges and then be able to address them. And free SHS, from time I started implementing, every year is an evolution. It's a process. Every year we have problem then we address it. The man baby. So starting a double track and I'm double track as a stop-gap measure to address the infrastructure issues. And as this year gradually we have almost facing out the double track because we are
and the NDC says they are going to abolish double track
that's what I'm saying the
system to restore a stable one track academic calendar.
They can only the double track came in because of the the academic calendar now there were different tracks because of the double track. We call it all year or multi year calendar system. You see, or your system has been there for a very long time when you face infrastructure issues. As far back as 1960, when Dr. Kwame Nkrumah introduced the what we call the universal basic education and middle school.
Yes.
He said that September 1961, universal primary education and middle school as the minimum education. When he said that classrooms were not available, the classrooms were not available. But he was very determined that the Mazeno. September 1961 started. Classrooms were not available. He innovatively said, okay, maybe in there, you go to school anopa for 4.5 hours. You go to school if you have break for 4.5 hours. That's how come we had this shift system. A shift system, did we continue? How do we still have shift system? It was just a program. But innovative.
Don't we have some schools that are still
no you cannot
running
they
there?
Cannot have, we don't have any shift system now like the way we are.
Okay, like Anapa area. Okay.
But I'm saying that it was to use the same facility for a higher number of people to solve a problem at a particular moment. And once the problem is resolved, you can move on. Now, what they are talking about, we have said that you provide the facilities. We are constructing more. In fact, across the country, we're doing so many infrastructure projects. And we believe that almost complete, we will be able to phase out. The number of schools, more than 300 schools, are now double track. Small, as we evolved in those schools were removed. Until Mawareka there, we will do that. That's why I told you that a lot of the things they said, the people who, I don't know, but they are not in the policy space. Until we knew what's happening. That's why they evolved all those things they're talking about.
NDC say NDC was a MPP we are the free tertiary for the disabled. It's in your manifesto.
Yes. Yes. Don't forget that I've indicated to you that the vision of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia include protecting the vulnerable groups, and I've said that he's been very passionate too. As for the people with disabilities, and those vulnerable groups, and so Oka with passion. And we have said that grant access to tertiary education. These are social interventions. Grant access to secondary education. Obiarukobi. We want to make sure that special needs schools now, 28 special needs schools now across the country, you improve one facilities. But we are, because of their special problem, in terms of one limited ability, disability, the one limited ability, ebiano we nyakwinya kwa tertiary institution, antino opedo obo in that regard. If the NDC says they are also going to do that, but it's fair that at least we are converging on the same point, that there's a need to support people with disability. But I demonstrate commitment towards the people with disability. One assembly allocation, we moved it from 2% to 3%. We've increased their allocation to them. And we plan to ensure that we move the disability, whatever the National Disability Council now, we want to move it into an authority, becomes a corporate body with perpetual succession. Give it a different powers. And see, young commitment towards people with disabilities is on par. The NDC's claim that the MPP stole this free tertiary for the disabled from. I don't think so. I would only say that it's just convergence.
When we
haven't said that we are against the people with disability.
Yes.
We haven't said that we are against people with disability. Now you turn around the FCCC, we are for them. We haven't said that, like how they did for free secondary school. We haven't done that. We have always, and I've told you, the special touch for people with disability. And we have done in so many interventions in that regard. Increase the allocation at the district assembly for them. If we converge on that platform, that's fine. But we have never been against people with disability and turn around and say that we are for them.
Okay, but how different is your promise, the MPP's promise, from the NDC? Because the NDC is promising. Let me read from. Okay, so implement a no academic fee policy for first year students. Okay. Not this one. Okay. But it's there. Okay, provide free tertiary education for all persons with disabilities.
Yes, but we have been very committed to providing free education. And yen yachre de yakade be free secondary education. So for us, we are more credible to say that people with disability, the Ghanaian people will believe us more than them. It's as simple as that. And as I'm saying, it is not a matter of, it's a matter of yenya converge at a particular point. It's fine. But in terms of one another, our credibility to do that, we stand tall. And the people with disability believe that Michidi there, what did there, MPP abana obotum wabo than the NDC. Okay. And if you look through our manifesto, as I said, all the issues around people with disability, we have addressed them across.
Okay. Yendi TVET and Komokakra. What is in there for Ghanaians from Dr. Bawumia and the MPP. Yendi TVET and Komonsusu Kakadok.
Eshek aban yara MPP aban. Yen interest in skills development is on par. Again, for 1 yen. Say efa atara wareshi fi wusura kusi wase or TVET. water would be TVET, Mpaboa Eshe TVET. And the abandoned focus on the TVET has been very phenomenal. TVET institutions across the country, apart from Yedwana about free senior high school, no, Yas one fee, ya upgrade one. Say Takrade Technical Institute, and here it's a university. Go across, and you see that modern equipment was our mohon to be able to ensure that what the Adina will see practice or practice account. That's the reason why, and the interest in TVET is gone so high. Technical universities in Yara, we have upgraded their equipment that they're using. I'm on a lot of equipment from those who are doing mechanical engineering, auto electricians, all of them, all the technical universities there. If you like, call any technical university vice chancellor right now, and they will tell you the significant amounts of investment we have done. Not only, I launched the Ghana apprenticeship program. And Ghana apprenticeship program, mainstream apprenticeship into a formalized system where a apprenticeship it is recognized as part of war skill set, and then you find yourself in the TVET qualification. You have for the first name, but 2 NAPTES and CODVET. You have from commission for TVET. The secondary school space now, you create the Ghana TVET service to be able to manage all the TVET institutions. Now there are about 23 ministries. TVET, Chassis, every Ministry of Agric, every Ministry of Labor, every Ministry of Trade, all over the place. Ya realign all of them. You don't have a Ministry of Education. Until the investment in TVET, the successes in our TVET is unparalleled. Because of that, we want to leverage that. Dr. Mahmoud Baumia ne manifesto na across every sector be about there jobs and skills. Because you see, when say some amount for kwenya na work the grammar type of school now, where they have to come and look for a job. And the problem is that the labor market may not be adequate to accommodate all those people. On normal unemployment, but turn our attention on technical vocational education and training. All my Nipani Viera and San Juma catch what them constituency training for over 2,000. All of them now they are now gainfully employed. One kasa worry your own BB, a bit more sort of fun. So the focus is to ensure that you continue with the TVET programs. Yeah, Ghana Jobs and Skills Project. Voucher system will be automatic constituency. There will be or my friend Fita. Na takwadi technical university. Acquire some training, been a winners certification be to mainstream him and polish his skill. So we've done that, and we are on constructing more TVET institutions and then ensuring that yes, mainstream TVET more the focal of our national development. And that's what the flag bearer seeks to do, with especially in creating jobs.
What do you make of NDC for one promise on TVET? Or say, commence establishing regional TVET centers of excellence equipped with state-of-the-art facilities to promote innovation and simulate natural work environment.
And I told you that they don't when you are not in the policy space, it's difficult to know what's happening. And unfortunately, I don't know how. But they didn't know that the government is constructing TVET centers of excellence.
Really?
Yes, across the country.
Regional TVET centers.
Exactly. I'm even surprised that they don't know that we are doing TVET centers of excellence.
Where is the Greater Accra Regional TVET Center of Excellence or INFA?
So across the country, as I said,
or maybe Western region.
Western North. I think there's one in the Western North, and then the first phase. So we've done 10. I should be able to get the list.
Please get the list.
I'll get the list before we leave here.
Yeah.
So that's the plan of the study. In fact, we started in 2016, somewhere in 2019 thereabout to have a center of excellence, TVET Center of Excellence, and we are constructing across. On CCRO started long ago. Some of them are at different stages. So I'll get the data for you. So that's I'm saying that say if they averted their minds to the work and then the happenings that they would have noticed that there's already ongoing constructions across the country.
Okay. All right. Adom 6.3 FM. Mene Dr. Prince Hamid Armah and mene no Twitter and Komo. There are lots of Facebook comments. Major Brenna for Makinkai as we wrap up we wrap up on the conversation. STEM education, yeah, wrap it up. STEM education, honum na yafa and komoni and see. So what's been happening so far with the STEM education, Doc?
And there, say every economy biara CCS scientific knowledge now or advanced economies, and you know we per day you make sure the yen mbofamano when you keen interest in these subject areas, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. And that's why we have been very keen in constructing STEM schools across the country. Ninyara is because say yepade ye do baby other countries, the American, Britain, Canada, you know, these developed countries, both in Europe and the rest. We need to ensure that yen mbofoma no one skill set obotu moda dem nyoma no are sharpened. And na very dedicated in science base. I was a science student, and then later on I went to the math part route, but it's been very helpful. And the science STEM schools, you know, I'm sure you will see one in Accra. There we are constructing them across the country to be able to get people to go into very interesting areas, you know, aerospace engineering, very interesting areas and traditionally only in system no more. And it's all part of the advancement and that's one of the key focus Dr. Mahmoud Baumia seeks to do. Okay. Me share a offend TVET centers, you know. Now, Mizamo. Okay. Yeah, before
okay. But wrap it up. Say Ghana for year tuaba na yes we are basing only on education. MPP and Abani one performance of then.
I think the education is a very fluid area. But you have to be very systematic about it.
Yeah, I'm asking because we want to gauge your performance within the education sector within this part.
At every sector.
Yes.
Let me just make this point. We have the basic education, secondary, tertiary. You have education management. You have issues on quality. You have issues of access. You have issues of equity. If you are measuring that as on this scale, in each of them, we will score not less than 70%. But we are not done. We are not done at all. We are very aspirational. And you know that the MPP is noted being a pace setter in policy interventions. Almost every policy biara in the space CCIA can once be policy key major social policy intervention biara is from MPP. And what we have done in terms of improving access, in terms of I've given you an example, for secondary school moved from 800,000 to almost 1.5 million, you know, in terms of improving equity, making sure the children from low income background also when you access to education, and that's the reason why everyone will be say baby of free ponunko on jindi there never but when you manako. It's because of them our interest in addressing equity at every level, and the data would clearly attest to that. We have the education sector performance review report that gives us indication of how the sector is operating. And at every score, we've done significantly well. Okay. But as I said, we want to do more for the Ghanaian people to ensure that to make the manner continue in the level because
Kasafa education hunti, let's look at the two running mates for the MPP and the NDC, Professor Jinan Opoku Agyeman and Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, if we are measuring their performance as education ministers, where would you place both of them? As ministers in charge of education, Professor Jinan Opoku Agyeman and Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh as CCA, and one way running mates for the two major political parties.
Say, the best way to do that comparison is to go for the handing over notes of NDC in 2016. I was the government.
Yes.
Then share the handing over notes of Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh in 2021. That will be the best way to be able to measure them. I'm American. I'm a Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh Yejuma, a very fantastic man, hard-working man. He's an achiever. He's an achiever par excellence. Omenda, Naronda na debi. And that's why when he's been made running mate, he's all over the place, working so hard. Professor Opoku, Nana Opoku Agyeman, I tried university,
yes,
former vice
chancellor, yes.
But when you're sure there, Nankasa, obey happy with nano record at dedication.
Really?
Exactly. Because you see, it's sometimes just not the academic side, but it's the political side also comes in. Because when he was there, and it was my brother Black and Co were running the place.
Oh.
Oh yes, I mean we were in this country. They were actually the one moving.
You mean yes. The substantive education minister?
Yeah, because
ineffective.
She didn't have the political gravitas.
Okay.
You know, my brother Blackwell and Co. He was already in the political gear. He was already in the system and understood. So that's why you saw they were the one leading the charge more than herself. And I'm saying that I'll be biased in my analysis. And I was a Kokofa education handing over notes for 2016-2017 NDC Fujai. Now for Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh. Say pa mutuma print my bro. One kasa compare, you see that Nano Opoku Agyeman Prof doesn't come near Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh at all, in any way.
Doc,
but just to add that, the TVET centers, those that are, as I indicated, there's in Ashanti region. I'll get the listen, and your name is ready, so I'll get and send it to you. But it's across the country, as I said. Yeah.
All right, Doc. My men was in I found common fancy, but the Deputy Works and Housing Minister Saglemi mentioned into the Omanpain will approve negotiations framework. Where are we now on Saglemi?
Says my ebetre no. Them when you the Saglemi issue no. Why very contentious, but that there only the original intention of the president, which is to the original intention of government, which is to provide affordable housing. We want to get it done. And what we did is to do international competitive bidding.
Yes.
Get the private sector to come in and then evaluate them. We got Deloitte and Tosh to be the transaction advisor. They have shortlisted about 3 of these. What will happen is that when we estimate the cost of the project now, that will be the equity investment of government. And then the investors finishing the project, the cost in finishing the project becomes the investors' equity investment. And then we'll form a JV and then get it done. So we are on course on getting the Saglemi issue resolved, and we believe that very soon. I think in this month.
How soon?
Oh, say we have to a process.
Yes.
And we have been very, very transparent in the process, so that because in Nsem, until we want that at least. I think by September evaluation will be done, and then we'll enter into the next phase. Our contract. Our plan was to be able to have contracts consummated and executed before the year ends. Until we are on course, ensuring that 1,506 buildings now or Saglemi are completed for the Ghanaian people to access them.
Doc, maybe your final words na answer.
Message or friend then on my money there. The MPP government Juma Wedi was aboa in the education sector no. Say yenya kwenya ya bebe tuado ya more than what we have done. Promises are yazaba in terms of scholarship, in terms of central application system. So when you may assist your bureau cut off Okos University and a tertiary institutional. About of forms bebre ye the mazin in ye fru. Ma if he enya one former nahin. That's it. So that we'll be able to more apply unlike we are doing now. We want to ensure that in school system no improve infrastructure, improve teaching and learning materials, improve work and then teachers one professional standard. Yes teacher licensure no shemukena yimfriho because it has become one of the benchmarks wa magana yendina kwe enyimpa. In fact eko UKCCR the 7 countries are working on there one bechade wo UK no Ghana ka ho together with Nigeria and then South Africa. Nti women na kwenya enjuma pa ya in the presidency of Nana Adom Akufo-Addo. President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia will upgrade the current status. Yen san yen reset no.
Dr. Mamendowasi, thank you very much for coming. Yeah, that's Papa. Dr. Prince Hamid Armah, a member of parliament for Kwesimintsim Constituency. Onanape Yaneno Atreche and Komono Kroyano, chairman for the Education Committee of 2024 MPP Manifesto. Onukroyan so a deputy minister for Works and Housing. Doc Nancham Pedamo Bonyum. I don't know if you know and Chambisa favorite Numbia Pedamo Boma, Sisia Nana Honkakra.
Yo Kilpaluta. Onan is here, Anano Biadi.
Nema.
Anan is here. Ono wodo.
Kimpaluta neno mo ina.
Ana no yeekuye mama. Ona. Atren kan wo kan kwado bi no. Am kan kwado bi a ye GSK.
Enti ekoye na bedam.
Ona no.
Doc, thank you very much.